There we go. Look at that. I remembered. Okay, hey everybody, this is Bill Ebert, author of Dream Your Life Amazing. We have book club going on. So if you show up at chapter 4, which is where we're at right now, I think. Let's see. Yep, chapter 4. If you're showing up here at chapter 4, we actually have archives for you. You know, somewhere either in your back office or on the YouTube channel, just reach out on the Beehive, which is our community group, or on the book club group, and ask somebody for the archives. You can get caught up because we're only 3 chapters in. And each one of the chapters has some homework to do. So last week's homework, I'm going to let this be part of the group. You know, once we end my part, we close down, 5 or 10 minutes of discussion, and then you guys will chat amongst yourselves. If you guys are doing a local meeting or if you're doing an online meeting, I'll get you guys started, and then you guys discuss your homework, ask your questions, and talk to your leader and see if there's some more comments or questions. Now, if there's anything that you ever can't get answered by the leader in the group, that's what the book club online forum, the Beehive, the back office, we can answer any question you have. So if you're getting stuck with any part of the book or the planner, just go ahead and ask questions. More than happy to help you. That's why we're here. The book club is completely free. Your MP3s are completely free. If you want a copy of the book, the hard copy, you're going to have to pay for that. The hard copy of the book and the planner is at dreamplanner.info. You'll see that this is edition number 17.2. 17.2 means we're at the year 17, which is 2017, and 2 means February. So that means the February version of the Dream Planner is shipping right now. I just shipped out a whole stack of them today. So one of the things that's really cool about our planner that's unique to the industry is we actually start on the month that you buy it. So you're not buying January's planner. You're buying February's planner because it's February. So that's really cool. You're not wasting any money. You're not wasting any paper. We print just enough for that month, and we print on demand. So it's pretty cool that you can order in March and get March planner, and you don't have to throw away a bunch of paper. So this one's going out today. If you're joining at any other time, the same thing's true. We only ship out that month's planner. So for you guys that I'm not going to rehearse last week, you just go to the archives and figure out what you need for the homework for the first 3 chapters. But we're in chapter 4 now, so I'm going to talk a little bit about chapter 4 and then let you guys discuss amongst yourselves. Of course, if you're in my book club, then we'll stop the recording and we'll open up for Q&A, talk about your homework from last week, and go to the next step. So fill out your dream planner every single day. It's the way to become successful. I'm going to share my screen with you. Before I do, I actually have something. I talked to somebody today, and I wanted to tell you a little hack, one of the hacks of the dream planner that's really, really cool. One of the problems we have with goal setting is procrastination. And, there's a lot of people, we know the statistic that you have to set 4 New Year's resolutions before you ever accomplish the resolution, which means that the psychology of a person, the average person, has to keep reminding himself the same thing over and over again before he finally commits to the action. Well, the cool thing about the dream planner, if you'll keep it in front of you, if you'll keep your dream planner in front of you and open, the cool thing about it is you're reminded. You don't have to wait a year to remind yourself. You can remind yourself every day. And so what happens is the psychology, a lot of people quit because they get embarrassed or they get discouraged or they think, well, I'm not going to do it. But if you have it if you know that that's part of your psychology, if you're a procrastinator and you keep this book in front of you, you will get to the action much, much faster than you ever would have if you didn't remind yourself. So this is what I told this person. I talked to somebody today who admitted he was addicted to procrastination. He's going through the 12-step program over procrastination. He's that addicted. So you probably met people like that. I was like that in a couple areas of my life. So what I told him to do is find a place right where you sit most often, in front of your computer. If you eat a lot, sit at your dining room table. If you're sitting in front of the TV, put it in front of your TV stand. But put the book in the most common space that you have it. Like mine is right here, right over here, next to my desk. I have my dream planner open on the corner of my eye, 24 hours a day. It sits right there at my most common spot. And I not only use it for my goals, but I write my notes in it. So, as I'm talking to people, I'm writing my notes. I'm actually using the dream planner as a notepad for that day and keeping me on track of the things that I'm supposed to do. Well, what's really cool about that is you keep reminding yourself over and over and over again, I'm supposed to do this, I'm supposed to do this, I'm supposed to do this. Now, if you don't get to it, of course, you move it over to tomorrow, but it's right in front of you. You get that habit, you get that psychology, that habit psychology right into you as soon as you possibly can. All right, so let me show you the screen. We're going to talk about chapter 4. It was a little bit of a dilemma for me, to tell you the truth. Chapter 4 was a little bit of an emotional crisis for me, and I'll tell you why. Here chapter 4 is talking about working with others, and it's about team building, and it's the psychology of working with teams. And I actually have a whole entire book that I've been writing. I've been working on it for about 8 years. It's called Supernatural Personnel, and I have 14 chapters of how to work with teams and how to get team members and how to work with different personalities. And so the emotional crisis that I had with working with others, which was really necessary for the book, was how do I make it just a couple pages? I mean, most of my chapters are short and concise. How can I take 14 chapters and take the most important stuff and put it in a book? That was really hard for me. So of all the books that actually I started to slow down. For me, chapter 4 was a bottleneck because I was trying to figure out how do I get all this stuff that I've been thinking about for 10 years into 5 pages. And so what I did was I didn't get it into 5 pages. It's actually the longest chapter in the book. It actually stretches a little bit more than it should, but it barely touches the surface about team building and about relationships and all that stuff. But I do think that I got the most important stuff. I think that this is on the subject of building teams and how to get team members and how to work with other people. I think it got the core, the foundation of this stuff. But this for you guys, if you're going to build a brand, if you're going to achieve anything great in life, if you're going to accomplish your goals, team members makes it so much better. It makes it so much easier. It makes it so much more effective. You've got to dig deep into this chapter. Don't just breeze through this one. As like I said, it's a short chapter, but still, it's very, very important. So take some time, spend some time reading real slow. One of the things that you're going to find out is each one of these sentences are power-packed. Think about this. Think about that every one of these sentences could probably be a paragraph on its own. So take your time with it, especially this chapter. Highlight the things that you have questions about. If you want more on the subject, of course, you can always reach out to me and get my book. It's free right now. I haven't actually fully published it yet. But like I said, it's 14 chapters on supernatural personnel, how to build teams, how to work with team members. If this is something that you're interested in, then just reach out to me. I'll give you a free copy of that too. But one of the quotes that I put in here, you win nothing if you don't win influence. And what's really key to becoming highly successful, whether it's in a speaking career or in your business life or in just about anything in life, it's influence. It's the ability to take your idea, your concept, your dream, your heart, and transfer it to other people. You don't even get a successful Thanksgiving dinner unless you transfer a vision. What time you're going to be there, who's going to bring what. It could be a chaos if you don't transfer communication. Well, how much more in something that is as complicated as your vision, your dream? So it's really important that you win influence. You get to the point where you communicate effectively whatever your passion is so that you can find other people to hook up with you. You do not want to spend your time dealing with the crisis of business. And here's one of the examples. When people start an entrepreneur lifestyle, I tell people, when you first get started, it's just you and your vision. And you're very successful and you start making some money and you start doing well. The moment you start hiring employees, you have to think about it as a completely different business. You're not talking about you anymore. You're not talking about your product anymore. Now you're talking about human resources. You're talking about management. You're talking about oversight. You're talking about legal issues. When you start dealing with other people, it changes the whole dynamic of your business. And so some people actually stay with the small mom and pop shop. They just stay with just one person just because they wanted to, they don't want to make that transition. They don't want to make the transition into managing people. But it's not that hard, whether it's a family or whether it's your employers. If you'll just learn from people who do it well, it's not that hard. It's just information. People are people. There's major 12 personality types, and you can figure out how your personality type works in a place of management and collaboration with other people if you just apply yourself. It's just like anything else. So don't get intimidated by this, but it is definitely a great skill. And of course, listening. Here's page 54. Listening is the absolute key. There's some magical stuff about listening. I'm not going to read the chapters to you and talk about this. I just want to make sure that I give you some of the behind the scenes kind of stuff. So hack number 1 is listening. I talk about megalomania a little bit because it's pretty common in big business. Hack number 2 is the light bulb moment, the listening pose. There's some really cool stuff. We actually do, whenever I do a live event, one of the things that I do is called life hacks. And I go through a whole list of how to communicate with people in a way so that you can build bridges. That's really what the key to communication is, whether it's sales or whether it's marketing, or whether it's employees, or whether it's people. What you're trying to do is build a bridge. And there's different types of emotional bridges, and there's different types, levels of effectiveness, and different types of communication, collaboration, and overlap in vision. There's all of that magic that's going on. And these little hacks, I put probably the best ones in here, the things that you can do and master these things. Don't just breeze over them. Hack number 2, the light bulb moment. Master this, exercise it, use it. Put big yellow highlights on it. Start practicing it in the elevator. Start practicing it at the grocery store. These hacks are very, very powerful. So go ahead and start using these things. Don't just breeze over it and then put the book on the shelf. These are practicable hacks. Listening in conflict. I always tell people that marriage is the easiest thing to fix, because once we get to the core issues, marriage is actually the easiest of all the things, all the business conflicts and the relationship conflicts and finance conflicts, all the things that we've dealt with in years of business. The thing that is the easiest of all relationships to fix is a marriage. And it comes down to this one magical key, listening in conflict. Because, as people are yelling and talking, they're not solving any problems. There's a key to listening. There's a way to listen, not just listen long enough so that they're venting so that you get to talk next. Listen, learn the mastery art of listening. It's a powerful, powerful tool. I want to really stress that. All right, power of role relationships. This is a magical, magical part. This is probably the hardest part for me in the book, the power of role relationships, because I could probably do an entire seminar, a whole weekend seminar just on this one topic alone, the power of roles. On that, if you have 2 people that are driving down the road, you got a husband and wife, and they work together and they got kids, and they even go to the same school together, and they go to the same church on Sunday morning. If you're driving down the road, your conversation changes roles 100 different times in less than 20 minutes. In a 20-minute drive, your roles change from employer and employee. And if you have 2 businesses, then this person's the employer and the other person's the employee. If you're husband and wife, your role changes as you're talking about your kids. As you're talking about students, you're co-learning together. You change your roles again. The way that you talk to each other should change. The way that the dynamic changes. The person who makes the decision changes. Unless, of course, you're an aggressive, obnoxious personality. Then you make all the decisions and everybody else has to listen. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about if you do it right, your roles are changing on a regular basis. Pay attention to roles. Very, very important. Like I said, I could write a whole book on that one subject, but I put enough in there for you guys to get started. If you want to master relationships, master the understanding of role relationships. And then let's see where we're at. Personality types. There's actually, for those of you who are really interested in this, be part of our community. Get into your back office and ask the question, where's the personality webinar? We did a 3-day, it was like 30 minutes a piece. We did a 3-day webinar, and then we did one live where we did 4 hours of personality and advanced personality stuff. You understanding personality types is very, very powerful. So reach out to me or us and say, where's your personality webinar? I'd be more than happy to share that with you. If this is something that you like to understand personalities and how to negotiate different people in groups. There's that. Layers. One of my absolute favorite subjects. I'm not even going to talk about it. If I get started, I'll take up all the rest of the evening on this one subject alone. So layers, very, very important to learn layers. So I'm going to give you guys some homework about becoming unlayered. I'm going to read this quote to you. The cages that we've built to protect ourselves in reality enslave us. And so what happens with human beings is they use this mechanism of defense, fear, and technique in our personalities that protect us from woundedness, protect us from the things that we think are going to hurt us. And in reality, they bind us. They keep us from being our genuine self. And it's really, really powerful. Most people live with so many layers of personality, and they don't even have an environment to get free. It's not taught regularly. It's not taught easily. And so spend some time with this chapter. Really, really powerful stuff. Next week is going to be chapter 5. So here's what I want to do for your homework, for you guys to discuss. Now, this homework is for next week. So when you get together with your group or you get together with me, your homework for chapter 4 is to do 2 things. One is you want to make a list of the personality types that bother you the most. Discuss what type of person do you least like to work with. And what this does is it helps identify not their weakness, but yours. And so the second part of that is, why don't I? What in my past caused me to not like this person? And the reason that we do this is you don't want to be dissuaded from your vision because you have to work with somebody that you don't like, or that you run across somebody that could be very beneficial for you, but you close off that relationship because they're that personality type. So it's real good for you to exercise that part of you. Find the weak part in your life and exercise it. And so chapter 4 is to exercise personality types. What is it in your personality that causes you not to like that personality? And what, if any, techniques could you possibly use? Open for discussion. It gets to be a pretty lively discussion in certain arenas when you start talking about personalities, because some people are really passionate anti certain personalities. And I was one of those, so I understand. The other thing I want you to do is to consider layers. Now, this isn't for open discussion, but I would like for you to spend a little bit of time going through the layers and talk about what are the things that are your primary emotional responses to life that are not necessarily a true response to life. And I'm not going to explain that to you because you're going to get it when you read the question. When you read the chapter on becoming layered, what are the primary techniques, responses, emotional responses that you have in life that are not primary responses, that they're actually a cover-up for another one to help you become unlayered? Now, if you have an open enough group and you have a small enough group and you want to discuss this live, that's fine. But in most cases, that's a little bit sensitive subject. It becomes a little bit naked for a bunch of strangers to be talking about this kind of stuff. So keep that to yourself probably in most scenarios. But if you do have a tight group, or you have family members, or you're sharing this book with your family or your spouse, then that might be a good discussion to have. So I'm going to close with that. Like I said, I try to keep it 10, 15 minutes. I'm going to let you guys go back to your group. Like I said, if you need a copy of the book, dreamplanner.info, or if you're already part of the community, just go in the back, click on the button, order a copy of the book. It usually only takes 3 days for it to get to you. Like I said, February is already shipping out. You get a copy of the Dream Planner and the book itself for like $20 or something. $20, $25, you get the whole entire thing. Now, if you're a subscriber back there, you already have that. If you're a $25 subscriber or an ambassador, then you already get the book anyway. So there you go. There's for tonight. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to stop the recording, and I'm going to open up for our local group for Q&A.